Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Benji-Sales live chat. It is so good to be back. It is so good to see everyone. Hello to everyone jumping in live. I think we're going to have a good chat today, y'all. We have so many topics to talk about, right? We have no shortage of things that we can discuss today. So last week I had kind of mentioned, the gaming industry, it's pretty slow, pretty boring right now, right? What a difference a week makes. This week has been just non-stop news, and that looks to continue. So we have so much to talk about. I am super excited. Really quick off of the top, right as I started this stream, I have a massive thunderstorm rolling in. So in the off chance that the storm puts out my internet or puts out my power, there's a chance that this chat could crash. So I'm already actually getting alerts right now as we speak that I'm getting internet issues. So here we go. We're going to see how it goes. Hopefully things go well because I'm really looking forward to this chat. But this thunderstorm could interrupt and destroy everything. So we're going to rock. We're going to see how it goes. So what can we talk about? Lots of stuff. First of all, we have the official announcement for the Xbox and Bethesda E3 showcase, right? We've got the dates on that. We know exactly when that's coming, so we can talk about our expectations, what we think is going to be there, our hopes and dreams, our hype, all of that goodness. So that's going to be on June 13th. So we can talk about all of that. There's a ton of pre-E3 announcements and news that is rolling in. We just had the Sonic stream. We've got Far Cry happening tomorrow. We've got Horizon Forbidden West about to be shown here in a few hours. We had Dragon Quest 12 get announced last night. Of course, we had April NPD sales results roll in, so we can talk about all of that. There is so much, right? So much to discuss. I could just keep going, right? We have the Switch Pro, which looks to be announced imminently, right? We have lots of sources saying that. Bloomberg just came out with an article saying that's going to launch in September or October and is about to be announced. So my goodness, do we have a lot to discuss. So for anyone, if this is your first time ever being a part of my live chat, the way this works, it's a stream and a show that is 100% driven by you. So drop your comments, drop your questions into chat, and I get to as many as I possibly can. Now, there's going to be two ways to do that. First of all, of course, there's the free method, right? It works just like anything. You just type a question, drop it into chat, and I get to as many of those free ones as I possibly can. However, if you want to 100% guarantee that I get to your question, the way to do that is going to be the super chat option, right? You just type in a donation, whatever amount you want. Super chats get priority because that's what you pay for. So if you want to guarantee I get to your question, super chat's there, but don't feel obligated, don't feel pressured, of course, to do anything like that. That's just a way to help support me, help support the channel. All right, everyone, can you let me know? Can you see my stream? Is everything okay? I was getting some alerts that the internet was messing up, but I think that's primarily due to this thunderstorm. So if you could just let me know in chat that everything's looking good, let me know. And I'm really quick going to read the NPD results, and then we're going to go straight into chat, right into your comments and questions. But I do want to give you a heads up on how NPD shook out. So first of all, Switch was the best-selling platform of the month in both units and dollar sales. So Switch, yet again, another amazing month for the Switch. It continues its unbelievable streak of being the best-selling console in the US literally every single month. So that was number one. Returnal makes top 10 overall, right? It hit number 8 and number 3 on PlayStation, and that was only with 2 days of tracking. So I think that's probably a pretty solid result. We're going to have to see how it pans out, I would say, in May. May is going to tell us a lot more on how it's doing because that will have a full month of tracking, right? Instead of only a couple days. So hopefully that ranks up there, but we had that. MLB The Show 21 was the number 1 selling game of the month. A huge, amazing launch for MLB. And then we had Pokemon Snap debut at number 3 overall, and it was also more than 2 times as big as the original Pokemon Snap launch. So it looks like a great result for that. Let me really quick read you your top 20 overall, and then we're going to start diving down into your comments and questions. So, number 1, MLB The Show 21. Number 2, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Number 3, New Pokemon Snap. Number 4, Outriders. Number 5, Near Replicant debuts at number 5. Number 6, Mortal Kombat 11. Number 7, Monster Hunter Rise. Number 8, Returnal. Number 9, It Takes Two. Great result for It Takes Two, right? Number 10, Mario Kart 8. Number 11, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Number 12, Spider-Man Miles Morales. Number 13, Super Mario 3D World. Number 14, Minecraft. 15, Animal Crossing New Horizons. 16, Super Mario 3D All-Stars. 17, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. 18, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. 19, Pokemon Sword and Shield. And number 20, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So there is your top 20, everyone. All right, I'm going to start diving into your comments and questions. I'm literally getting just non-stop notifications that the internet's going out, so we're going to see how it goes. Of course, the storm rolls in right as I decide to stream. So we're going to see how it goes, everyone. Timmer72299 with a 2 super chat right off the bat, saying, no question today, just wanted to show my support. Thank you so much, Timmer. I saw it was just your birthday, I believe, right? Just a couple days ago. So happy birthday to you, Timmer. I hope it was a great one. And keep being awesome. Thank you for your support and keep rocking on Twitter. Ralph Muster here with a 15 super chat. Hi, everyone. Perfectly timed chat, Benji. Thank you so much, Ralph. Thank you so much. We have so much to talk about, right? I might do 2 live chats this week, everyone. There might be another stream on Friday. I'm not 100% committing to that yet, but keep your eyes open. If you want to do a second chat, there is a chance this is going to be the rare week where I do 2 streams because I feel like we might have a lot to recap after we see Horizon, after we see Far Cry, after we get some of the news that's going to roll out in the next couple days, right? If we do get this announcement of the Switch Pro. So I may do a second stream here on Friday. All right. Hamish Lee Ford. And thank you so much, Ralph, for that super chat. Thank you so much. It's good to see you. Hamish Lee Ford. Hey, Benji. Hope you're doing great. Doing really good. I don't have a question. Just wanted to say today is really good for news. Horizon gameplay, Dying Light 2 news, etc. Also, probably not many people notice this, but if you check the Xbox E3 announcement photo, there's also a Forza confirmation. Oh, I did miss that. In the top left corner, there is a tire outline. Also, the whole thing looks like a tire that is spinning. Great news. I missed that, Hamish. I missed that. So nice Forza tease in there. I think it's very clear by this image that Xbox put out, right? The promotional image, you can see it right on my thumbnail. Clearly, they're going to be talking about Halo Infinite multiplayer and Starfield, right? That's going to be 2, I think, of the standout things here. That image in the top right of Halo, it's not Master Chief, it's a bunch of Spartans. That clearly to me seems to signal multiplayer. And then the bottom left corner is, of course, the planet from the original Starfield teaser. So very clearly Halo and Starfield are going to play heavy into this Xbox E3 show. Elias Stapleton, The Last of Us 2 charting again, is having amazing gains. The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Spider-Man Miles Morales, such single-player success for Sony, though. And are they aiming for 50 million PS5s in 2 years? Wow, and 50% market share. So yes, lots of success for single-player games from Sony. However, it's worth noting on their investor slides that just came out, right? We had a ton of news that came out about Sony and PlayStation. They are going to start more heavily pursuing games as a service, online games, multiplayer games, and free-to-play stuff. That was like just straight up in their slides. Now, does that mean that they're not going to continue making tons and tons of these big single-player games? Absolutely not, right? That's what Sony's known best for. That's what they're really good at. So I don't think there's any chance at all that you're going to see them just slow down their output of these big, huge single-player narrative games. You're going to still see tons of those. But you are going to see them, Elias, start to do more multiplayer projects, more games as a service projects, because the thing is those games can make astronomical amounts of money, right? These single-player games make a ton of money as well. I mean, they make a lot, right? Especially these big Sony first-party titles. But whenever you have multiplayer in there, you really get those long-term legs in sales, and then you also get tons of DLC and microtransaction money. So, yeah. I have a feeling my stream's just dying. What horrible timing. I could not have timed this worse. I had no idea it was even going to storm today. We're going to try to power through it, but the stream could completely crash, which is really unfortunate. Ryan Thompson, what do you expect to see from Xbox, Nintendo, and Sony from E3 or new game announcements, and what do you hope to see? Okay, so from Xbox, some of the things that I'm expecting, I think the three obvious ones, right? First of all, I just mentioned Halo Infinite with obviously a heavy focus, I think, on the online. Are they going to show new gameplay for the campaign? Yeah, for sure, right? We're definitely going to get some single player and campaign footage. But I actually think you might see a bigger focus at this E3 showcase for Halo, more on the multiplayer side, because they've shown zero on multiplayer. Whereas on campaign, we have seen something. Now, granted, it didn't live up to, I don't think, to people's expectations, what they were wanting to see from that game. But we at least have seen that. We've seen zero on the multiplayer, outside of just like a couple screenshots, right? But we still don't really know how it works, how the free-to-play works, how it's going to be monetized. We know that there's going to be some sort of beta and things like that for this. So I think they're going to do a lot of Halo Infinite multiplayer talk. Starfield is definitely going to be here. The question is going to be how big of a showing. My hunch is pretty big. I mean, it literally is part of the straight up big giant art that they put out, right? They straight up are hyping Starfield even in the promotional material. So I'm guessing Starfield's going to get a pretty decent showing. I don't know that it's going to be this giant 20-minute blowout, but I think it's also not going to be like a 2 or 3 minute trailer, right? I think Starfield's going to get a pretty big showing, however that works out, whether that's a bunch of gameplay, whether that's a bunch of cinematics. Either way, I don't think Starfield's going to be quick. I think we're going to get a solid chunk of Starfield here. Forza Horizon 5, clearly, that's not any like secret. Everyone's expecting that. There's been tons of rumors about it, set in Mexico. Forza Horizon 5, I think, is going to get a big blowout, gameplay, release date, all that kind of stuff. And then the interesting thing is, what is the unexpected things, right? The thing that I keep saying on these streams is that, and I could be wrong, I'm not expecting a ton of brand new AAA first-party Xbox announcements here, just because they have so many games announced that they've really shown nothing on yet. Now, again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Microsoft comes out and they announce 5, 6 brand new first-party exclusive games, right? It's just not what I'm expecting. I think we're going to get some, right? Maybe 2 or 3, but just not like tons and tons. Like just here's 5, 6 games, because as I've said before, we've seen nothing on Avowed, we've seen nothing on Hellblade, and apparently neither one of those games are there, but you get what I'm saying. We've seen basically nothing on Fable, we've seen barely anything on Everwild. Like there's just so many games they have announced that we've almost seen nothing on, that it would surprise me if they just come out and announce a ton more games when there's so many we know barely anything about. So my guess is maybe 2 or 3 new first-party games, but a heavy focus on Halo, Forza, and Starfield, and then, of course, lots of third-party stuff, right? And maybe some of those third-party games are exclusive. That's very, very possible. I'm not saying we're only going to see like 2 or 3 new exclusives at the Xbox show, but I'm saying first party. I don't think we're going to get like 5 of them, right? I think it's going to be 2 or 3 and then a lot of third party stuff, some of which may be exclusive or day one launches on Game Pass. Nintendo, I'm expecting a ton of Zelda, especially if it's true, which it very much appears to be, that they're about to announce the Switch Pro. What better game to get more hyped for a new Switch revision than Zelda? So is there going to be some other stuff coming out of Nintendo at E3? I definitely think so. I doubt this is just they're going to show one game. But the big highlight for Nintendo themselves, I think, is going to be Breath of the Wild 2. I think they're going to have a blowout on that game, and I'm still expecting it this fiscal year. Is it going to be this calendar year? That's a little bit tougher, right? But at the very least, I think it will be out this fiscal year, so by the end of March 2022. I'm hoping for this calendar year, but at the very least, I think that comes out end of March of next year by then, so they're going to want to start talking and showing that game. So Zelda for them. Sony's hard to say, because is Sony having a summer show? Like, I don't know. I'm assuming they still are, but I don't think that's anytime soon, Ryan. The fact that they're doing this Horizon footage right now tells me that if Sony's doing a summer showcase, don't expect that until July or August even. I don't think that's happening soon. So Sony's a bit of a wild card. They're hard to say because I don't think we're going to see them in the next month. So from E3 itself, will we get some Sony talk? Yeah, for sure, right? First of all, Square Enix, it appears, is going to be showing that Final Fantasy Origins game, which is an exclusive to PlayStation 5. So Sony will still have some sort of presence around this E3 just because some of the third-party stuff. But Sony themselves, I don't expect to hear from them in terms of a showcase until July or August. So whenever they do finally talk, clearly they're going to talk about God of War. They're going to mention that it's delayed until next year. And then they're going to probably show some gameplay and stuff like that. And then other first-party stuff, right? Probably going to be the reveal of Factions 2, right? The Last of Us multiplayer, whatever they call that. They're probably going to start talking about that because I think that is launching next year. We're going to get updates on Gran Turismo, etc. Forzathon is back. What is up, Forzathon? Hi, Benji. Do you think Arcane's rumored Project Omen will be announced at E3? Could be. Also, prediction for Xbox's One More Thing announcement. So, Arcane, I expect to make some kind of announcement at E3, just because they haven't had a game in a while, right? They have two studios. There's two different studios within Arcane, and it's been a bit of a gap, right, since the last one. So I think we're going to see something from them, whether that's Project Omen or a sequel to one of their other games. You know, I'm not sure, but I think they will be there in some form. Yeah, I'd be surprised if there's nothing Arcane, right? Considering, like I said, there's two studios. We know Deathloop's on the way, right? So that's part of it, but still, I think that they're going to have something. And Deathloop obviously is not, I don't think, going to be part of the Xbox and Bethesda showcase, considering it is PlayStation exclusive. How weird would that be to see them show a PlayStation exclusive there? So I would say it's possible. I think they will, but I don't know that. And then their One More Thing announcement, man, what could that even be, right? Because we have... let me think. What team could have a new game to show? Their One More Thing, I think, would be a first-party game. I don't think they would do third-party unless it's some sort of an exclusive coming from a third-party. Here's a question, too. Do they end with Halo or start with Halo? Like, is that... I think it's one or the other. I don't think Halo is going to be like... Or at least it's going to be either very early or very late, right? It's going to be like either the first or second game they show, or they're going to try and close the show out with it. I don't know. The One More Thing is tough. Maybe Starfield. Honestly, they could... You know what? Starfield might close the show because that's not coming out until 2022, right? So it's something that's going to be a big hype thing, but they're not going to show super early probably while they get other announcements out of the way that are going to be sooner. My prediction is Starfield closes the show, but who knows? All right, let me make sure there's no super chats. Thanks for a good turnout today, everyone. Sorry for the internet troubles. Looks like we're on our way to 100 live concurrent viewers. Not there yet, but looking like we might get there. Thanks so much, everyone. Benji with a 5 super chat. Hi, Benji. Sony mentioned in their investor report service-led games will come to PC. Can we expect those service games on PC day one with PS5? It is possible. Now, let's really quick mention Sony's expansion into PC, which continues, right? First of all, Sony essentially announced without announcing it, like it was done in a bit of a weird way, but on these investor slides, they mentioned Uncharted 4 is coming to PC. It looks like that's probably the next big first-party game, right? Because it was on the slide alongside Days Gone, right? It wasn't like a slate of games. They didn't show like, here's 5 games that are coming to PC soon. It was like Days Gone and then Uncharted 4. So I'm guessing Uncharted 4 is their next big PC release. We also found out from these slides that Horizon Zero Dawn made a 250% return on investment by March of 2021. So that's great, right? That if you're Sony and you're getting 250% plus return on your investment, because that was just as of March, that's only going to continue to grow with time, right? I mean, they're seeing very good results from that. So there's no way that you just ignore that kind of return. I have a feeling Days Gone is probably going to be a solid return on investment as well. Is it going to be as big as Horizon was? Probably not, but they're still going to make a nice chunk of money on that. Uncharted 4 should be huge, I would think. So clearly PC is becoming just a bigger success for them. Now, do I ever expect their big single player games to be on PC day one? I don't see it. And if it ever does happen, we're talking like years down the road, right? Like a long time. If they ever decide to be like, hey, we're going to put a single player flagship AAA game day one on PC, I wouldn't expect that anytime soon, right? I wouldn't expect it during the entire life cycle of the PS5, for example. However, these service-led games they talked about, that does have potential to be day one on PC. And the main reason is that these multiplayer games, you want to get as many people as possible playing these games, right? Like as many as possible. Because the main way that these multiplayer games earn money isn't actually like through boxed sales, though you do earn a lot of money just straight up selling the game, but it's actually the way you earn most of your money, right? If you look at even the paid for games like Call of Duty, obviously free to play, that's where like all your money's coming from. But even like Call of Duty, so much of the revenue is being generated by DLC, by battle passes. Same thing with Overwatch, right? So much of its revenue comes from loot boxes and things like that. So if you're Sony, you want as many people as possible playing these multiplayer games. So that would make sense. Put it on PC. We know PC loves multiplayer games. If you look at the Steam concurrent player charts, it's dominated usually by games like, Counter-Strike and PUBG and, I could go down the list, right? Tons of multiplayer games. So I would say that's not impossible, but I wouldn't expect any of their single player stuff day one for a very long time. KY Han with a 2 super chat. Thank you so much, KY Han. Interesting Switch Pro will replace the $300 Switch. Yes, and I would say this is most surprising to me for one specific reason, and that is that it looks like, at least according to Bloomberg, this is the wild card in all this here, is apparently the price is going to go up. We just broke 100 concurrent viewers. Thank you so much, everyone. I love to see it. Thank you so much, everybody. Not often we break 100 live here on the chat, so thank you so much, everyone. But yes, I did not expect that they would replace it and drive the price up. Back in an older chat, we were kind of speculating on pricing, and this was before, the latest rumors. This was a bit of a while back. Oh, wow, my stream crashed. Wow, my stream crashed. We went from 100 down to 60. Holy cow. What a disaster this has been. I am so sorry, everyone. I don't even know if anyone can see this, but oh well. Anyways, so sorry. I got distracted because I'm just literally getting nonstop alerts from YouTube that my streams crashed. Anyways, back to the Switch pricing. Yeah, everyone's saying the stream just died. Dang. Wow. All right, I'm going to try and push through for like 5 more seconds, and we might have to call it. This storm completely obliterated my chat. Like, it obliterated it. It just completely took the chat out. Ridiculous. Anyways, I would hold off on super chats, y'all, because this stream might be about to be over. Like, this storm completely ruined it, which was a bummer. This was going to be a good chat today. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to finish the Switch question, and then I might close the chat, because I don't even know if anyone can see me. So anyways, back to this. I would have thought, right, back whenever we were doing this discussion, I said I could see a scenario where the Switch Pro could replace the the regular Switch, but if they did that, I thought they would keep the pricing the same. And then I also said I could see a scenario where the three would exist alongside each other, and then this would be more expensive. What I did not expect was them to completely, get rid of the current Switch, which is what Bloomberg's reporting, and also raise that price tag. This is a heck of a curveball. Here's the thing. I wouldn't raise it by any more than $50, okay? If this is true, demand is so high that raising it by $50 I don't think would be the end of the world. Would you get some backlash from people early on over that? Yes, you would get some people that are very upset, right, about that. They'd be like, this console was $300. What in the world? Why is it now $350? You are going to see some of that, but I don't think like a ton. Put it this way, you might see a lot of that online, but with consumers, I don't know that you would see a ton of that. And they could probably get away with $50. However, if it's more than that, that sounds like a disaster to me. And I'd be shocked that Nintendo was bold enough to do something like that. So this is a very interesting wrinkle. We're going to see how going to have to watch and see how it all plays out. And yeah, it's interesting, right? This announcement's going to be very intriguing. The Switch Lite's still going to exist alongside of it, right? We know that. But yeah, we'll have to keep an eye out. All right, hopefully people can see me. On my end, it looks like my stream's dead. Can you let me know in chat if you can still see me, and I'll try and keep going. But we'll see, right? This storm has completely annihilated my stream. So just let me know. On my end, it looks like the stream's dead. I can see chat, but the actual alert for the stream says it's dead. It literally is showing me that the stream doesn't exist. What a disaster. Especially because we were going over 100, right? Right as the stream broke 100 viewers, it crashed. Man, what a bummer. All right, Plastic Hearts Podcast with a 10 super chat. With Switch Pro looking to ship this holiday, what does that mean for chip production? Would Nintendo proceed knowing they won't sell full potential, or they have a deal to ensure they have chips? Well, here's the thing. We know Nintendo said in the past, when they were asked specifically about this, that they felt really good about their production, that they felt very confident. They didn't rule out future shortages, but they didn't, at least at the time, and this wasn't that long ago, they didn't think it was going to be like a disaster for them in terms of production. Seems that they're doing much better than PlayStation and PlayStation and Microsoft are doing on producing their consoles. And also, if it is true, Plastic Hearts Podcast, that they are ending production of the current Switch, that also does help them, right? Because juggling 3 SKUs at once would be a lot bigger of a challenge than just making 2 at a time, right? Making the Lite and then this Pro or whatever it is that they're going to call it. So if that is accurate, that's going to help things. This is just like we just said. It's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out. I did not expect this to completely replace the current Switch and potentially go up in price. But I think their production's probably going to be pretty okay. I don't know that it's going to be amazing. We need to see what kind of chip this is using, right? But Nintendo at least feels confident about it. They themselves feel good about it. They still forecast a huge amount of units, even in the face of these shortages. So I think they feel good about it. So I'm going to feel good about it. If they come out and revise their forecast, or they say things are looking worse than we expected, then we can, go off that info. But at least as of now, Plastic Hearts, they feel good about it. Thanks for the $10 super chat. All right, everyone's saying it's good. Sweet. Sorry about that, y'all. I am so sorry. Ralph with a super chat, 2 super chats from Ralph. Holy cow, thanks, Ralph. Saying we can see you. And then Ralph saying, by the way, how are Shin Megami Tensei 3 pre-orders doing? Any comment on that? Ralph, thank you so much for the super chats. Unfortunately, with Shin Megami Tensei, I don't have a ton of info on that one. I apologize. Since you did a super chat, If you have another question, Ralph, just at me, say at Benji-Sales, and I will answer that just because you paid for a super chat here, and I don't have a ton of info specifically on that game. I apologize for that, but thank you so much, Ralph, for the super chats. And I'm glad to see that at least for now the stream's live. So we're going to keep pushing through. Okay. It is literally pouring rain here. Hail, lightning, thunder. Yeah. Internet's not liking it. Cody Smith, do you think the rumored Nintendo Xbox partnership could be Master Chief coming to Super Smash Bros. Since Xbox Game Pass coming to Nintendo seems unlikely at the moment? Well, that's one of those things that I wouldn't normally rule out. However, I think Sakurai just said that DLC for Smash is winding down and that there might not be any future plans to continue to do DLC for it. So I'm not so sure about that. Clearly, oh wow, I just got an alert, no data. Oh man. Wow. What a disaster. Okay, sorry I'm so distracted, y'all. I know this stream is probably one of the worst you've ever watched from me, but that's just because it's been a nightmare on my end. So I'm going to say possible. They put him in Fortnite, right? So clearly Microsoft themselves isn't 100% opposed to Chief appearing in other places, even on other consoles, right? Because since he was in Fortnite, he showed up on PlayStation, he showed up on Nintendo. Clearly Microsoft and Nintendo seem to get along well. So yeah, I wouldn't rule it out, but I also wouldn't say I'm like supremely confident that you're going to see him in Smash. Two new super chats. Oh my goodness, a hilarious comment here from Red Dead Series before I jump into these two super chats saying Red Dead Series, timefall is happening outside your house. Yeah, seriously. It is a massive storm over here. It's crazy. Judge Doom with a 2 super chat. Any comment on Sony and Square keeping Final Fantasy off Xbox? This is a great question, Judge Doom. Great question. So I'm sure you've all seen it, but in the very slim chance you haven't, Sony and Square Enix are like all in on PlayStation partnership. Okay, first of all, of course, we already had the Final Fantasy 16 announcement. Then you had Final Fantasy 7 Remake Intergrade, which was also confirmed to at least for the next 6 months or so be timed exclusive still to PlayStation. Then you had all these rumors about Final Fantasy Origin. It appears that is also going to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive. And it very well could be that Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 is also a PlayStation exclusive, right? I mean, if Part 1 was, and it was exclusive for that long, wouldn't surprise me if Part 2 is as well. So yeah, if you are a Final Fantasy fan on Xbox, wow, that is tough, you know. Here's the thing. Do I love when multi-platform franchises go exclusive? No, I don't love it. I am also, however, not one of those people that, you know, gets super angry and screams anti-consumer and things like that when this happens either, because I understand why these things are done. So listen, am I sympathetic towards Xbox fans that want to play Final Fantasy? And now it clearly appears that for years, at least, right? The next coming years, that's not going to be possible. Of course, I'm very sympathetic to that. On the other hand, though, you can't be an Xbox fan and be super angry about that, but then at the same time be praising and screaming for joy that Bethesda games are going to be exclusive moving forward, right? You can't be super angry about Final Fantasy being exclusive to PlayStation and then at the same time be pumped that the Elder Scrolls 6 is going to skip PlayStation. Now, I understand they're a bit of a different scenario, right? Before anyone gets too bent out of shape, I understand that Microsoft now owns Bethesda, whereas Sony does not own Square Enix. But at the end of the day, you make these exclusive deals and these exclusive announcements, whether that is purchasing a studio, whether that is signing a contract, to bring value to your ecosystem. So here's the reality. They are making, if you're a Final Fantasy fan, you gotta have a PlayStation 5. And I completely get why they're doing it. This is really important for them, particularly I would say in Japan, because as we've seen, there hasn't been a ton of game announcements that are like super appealing, I would say, to the PlayStation 5 yet within Japan. So Final Fantasy, is it the brand that it once was there? No, but it's still pretty darn big, right? It can still sell over 1 million units. So yeah, I mean, it's a big move, right? It's a big move, and I completely get why they're doing it. All I would say is that if you're a Final Fantasy fan, you're gonna need a PS5, right? Because you're gonna be waiting. Even if some of these games eventually go to Xbox, it's gonna be years, right? Years. It could be 2 years or more before some of these games come to Xbox, if they ever do. So, yeah. Peter 420, I'm going to piggyback off this because it's popping up. Disagree with the Bethesda Square Enix comparison because Microsoft acquired ZeniMax, which were up for sale. Sony didn't acquire Square Enix and most likely aren't up for sale, at least not yet. Peter 420, are you going to be angry about all these other exclusives that Microsoft's setting from third parties? They have an exclusive Dragon game coming from IO Interactive. I can tell you there's also other ones that are coming that are exclusive from third parties that they do not own. It is what it is. This is the way it works. And I get it. I totally get why some people are super angry about this, right? I'm not telling you that as a fan of Final Fantasy, you shouldn't be upset that you're not going to play the game. I totally get it. I would just say you're going to have to go out and buy a PlayStation because it ain't happening. They ain't coming to Xbox anytime soon. All right. Was that clear for Super Chats? No. Nope. Benji with a 5 Super Chat. Thank you so much, Benji. With the Switch Pro, Nintendo is going for an Apple-like strategy, it seems. Yeah, they could be, which is interesting. This would be a first in gaming. Can they pull that off? Yeah, this is like, here's the main thing that this tells me. Switch 2 is nowhere close, y'all. Don't expect to see Switch 2 anytime soon. And when I say anytime soon, I'm saying a minimum of 3 years. A move like this where they're like straight up gonna and that, again, this is assuming the Bloomberg report is true, which I'm inclined to believe it is, because basically it seems that Bloomberg has been on the cutting edge of this Switch Pro info from the very beginning, right? If you go as far back as those early Switch Pro rumors started, almost all of them came from Bloomberg, right? And they've kept expanding on that over time, and they've kept being super confident in that over time, right? They haven't changed their reporting. They haven't said, oh, we were wrong, we're going to change, what we did. They've like stuck to their guns. So I'm assuming this is true just because Bloomberg has been so confident. And yeah, we have not seen this, right? Whenever Xbox, or at least not any time recently, whenever Xbox and PlayStation released their revisions, they sold alongside the original, right? You saw the Xbox One X sell alongside the Xbox One S. You saw the PlayStation 4 Pro sell alongside the PlayStation 4 Slim. And yeah, you've seen like revisions replace the original in terms of like a slim version, right? But it's still the exact same console, like with very minor differences. The main difference here is it sounds like this new Switch is quite a bit different. Like it's going to straight up run games better. Like that has been part of this from the very beginning. It has a new chipset, runs games better. We haven't quite seen a strategy like this. If anyone can pull it off, it's going to be Nintendo, but it's going to be very dependent on how they message this, how they price this. I'm very interested in this announcement. I think we're going to get it by the end of the week. By the end of the week, I think we'll know what the Switch Pro is. So it could pay off for them. It could pay off big. But the main takeaway I would say, regardless, is don't expect to see Switch 2 for like 3 years at least, right? Do not. This isn't... You wouldn't make a move this big if you had a successor coming out in like 2 years or less, right? If you're doing something this big, your follow-up in terms of like a new generation, if they do that, years away. The Deadly 8, I'm just now seeing, been asking my question for 2 weeks. Can you please respond to it? Let me check. I will, Deadly 8. Let me check. Sorry, these chats get pretty packed. So let me check that. Please respond to my question. All right, Deadly 8, since you are, since I've missed it for 2 weeks, let me get it for you. Sorry, the chat gets pretty big. Benji-Sales, been asking this for 2 weeks. Please answer. Do you think it's possible that WB will license their IPs, to third-party studios if WB games get sold? Could we see a first-party DC game? Yeah, this is actually a great question, Deadly 8. Sorry it's taking me 2 weeks to get to it. Could we see WB Games IP get licensed out? I would say yes, it's possible, but only if, and this is only, if they decide to sell those studios, which as of now looks like it's potentially possible, right? Now, does that mean that I feel confident it's going to happen, or even that I think it's likely to happen? No, but it's looking like it could theoretically happen. There are numerous reports out there coming out that WB may be getting sold, as in like the entire thing, right? The way this deal was structured, where it came over to Discovery. I think it was CNBC just had an article about this, that they're positioning this company completely from the ground up to make it easy to sell. So it's possible, right? It is possible that these studios get sold. As of now, who knows? If they sell those studios, could they retain the licensing, right? Sell the studios on their own with no licensing, and then also license those out? It's possible. It depends on how they would do a sale like this, if they would sell all the studios in bulk, or if they would split those studios up, right? Sell them piece by piece. If you sell them all in bulk, it could also be a scenario where they sell the licensing rights with all of WB Games, right? You buy all the studios, and then you also get all the licenses, specifically only in games, right? I'm not telling you that you would get the licenses to where now you could go make DC movies, right? No way they'd do something like that. But just like when Marvel back in the day sold the movie rights of Spider-Man to Sony, but they kept ownership over, Spider-Man in the comics, you could potentially see a scenario like that, where WB is like, hey, we're going to sell the video game studios to make them more valuable. You can also get gaming rights, just gaming to those IP as well, let's say maybe for 10 years or something like that. So there's a lot of different ways this could go, Deadly 8. It's impossible to know for sure because we don't know for sure that these teams will be sold. They could stay completely with WB and DC and nothing gets sold off, or they could get sold in pieces or in chunks, right? It's just hard to know. We're still early days on this, but it's interesting. It's a good question. And yes, you could see a scenario where they just sell licensing rights. Yep, you could see that. Multiple super chats pouring in. Thank you so much, everyone, for all the support despite a struggling stream. I hope you're all still having a good time despite my technical disasters. I'm so sorry. Ralph Muster here with a question because I owed him one, and then I'm going to get to your other super chats. Benji-Sales, you are now indebted to me. Story of Seasons shockingly sold 250,000 in North America. What third-party Switch titles have performed above your expectations this year? Yeah, that's great, right? Story of Seasons has done very, very good. I think they said it was above their expectations even, right? That would be a great one. Another one, it's not so much necessarily this year, but in general, Witcher has done surprisingly well on Switch, right? We've gotten actually numbers for that several times. In fact, there was actually a recent update that if you did the math through pixel counting, you found where Witcher was. And I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what that number was, but Witcher was another one that has done very well. It's done over 1 million units, I believe, on Switch, if I'm remembering correctly. Another one I would say is continued legs for Hades. Hades continues to perform excellent on the Switch. If you look at the eShop bestsellers, Hades is very often in those charts. So Hades would be another one. Here's the thing. The Switch has just flat out proven it can sell third-party games. Can it sell at the level for third parties as Xbox and PlayStation does? I would say no, right? Overall, we're just saying overall. No, it hasn't shown that kind of thing, but I think it's also proven that the belief that Nintendo consoles can't be juggernauts for third-party sales, that's kind of been shattered with the Switch, honestly. Like you've seen many games perform well on it. So, especially with the Switch Pro coming, I think you're going to see continued third-party support. Yep, I think so. Plastic Cards Podcast with a 5 super chat. Thank you so much, Plastic Cards. I think that's your second one. With Uncharted 4 possibly coming to PC. Oh yeah, it is. That was straight up in an investor slide. It's coming. Seems like all bets are off for what Sony will bring over. What's your next PlayStation to PC prediction? I predict essentially every single PlayStation 4 exclusives coming to PC, y'all. I really do. God of War, I would say, is probably next. That would be my guess. My next would be God of War. Cory Barlog himself flat out said years ago that if it was up to him, God of War would be on PC. So you literally have the director of the game that said years ago, before Sony was even doing this PC initiative, that if it was up to him, he'd put it on PC. So there goes a big roadblock right there, right? You literally have the director of the game saying he wants the game on PC. My prediction is going to be God of War next. Yeah. Now, not God of War PS5, right? I already said, like I said, I think Sony's still going to have a gap for their games. I don't think that they're going to be taking these PS5 games and throwing them on PC day one or even within a year or two. In fact, I think it'd be a big gap if they do it. But these PS4 games, I mean, they're not really trying to sell PS4s anymore, right? Of course, they still make a ton of money off of PS4 because of that ecosystem, because all the people that still buy games for it. But in terms of like actually pushing hardware, those games are done, right? They're not pushing hardware anymore. So might as well double dip and get a bunch of money on PC too. So my guess, God of War next. God of War after Uncharted, I think. Thanks for that super chat, Plastic Hearts. Judge Doom with a 2 super chat. You got news on Mass Effect Legendary Edition sales must be good. Judge Doom, it's looking great. It's looking great. So it did nearly 60,000 concurrent on Steam. That's a great number. Really, in my book, you know, the way I look at Steam concurrent players charts, anything over 50,000 I consider to be really good. Anything over 100,000 is flat out incredible, right? If you can break 100,000 concurrent players on Steam, you had an enormous launch, right? Very rare do you see a game do over 100,000 concurrent on Steam and it didn't sell a freaking ton of copies right off the bat, right? So 100,000 is just, you're incredible. 50,000, you're great. And this was almost 60. So that points to a great Steam and PC launch. We saw in the UK that physical sales launched at about half of the number Resident Evil 8 Village launched at. That's really good, okay? Village was a brand new AAA, brand new game release, whereas the Legendary Edition, you know, for a lot of people, these are new games, but it's a remaster, right? It's not the same thing as a brand new, the sequel and the next big franchise. So even launching at half of Village physical, I mean, that's great, right? So, and in the US, I've seen a lot of signs that it's doing well as well. So yeah, Mass Effect Legendary Edition looking like it did really good for BioWare. Releasing that was brilliant. It's getting a lot of people I'm seeing playing this franchise for the first time ever. They have really set themselves up well that if Mass Effect 4 is good, it could be huge, okay? And of course, we don't know. It's probably not going to be called Mass Effect 4, but you know what I'm saying. The next Mass Effect game. It needs to be quality, which with BioWare, you never know nowadays. But if it is quality, it could be huge. Yeah, Legendary Edition's done really well. Josh Tarpley here with a 5 super chat saying, Benji, you like heavy music. Oh, yeah, it's my favorite, right? It's my favorite genre. I listen to like all genres, but yeah, love it. My current favorites are Spirit Box, literally right with you. Within Destruction, right with you. And the new Acacia Strain. I have not listened to that one. Spirit Box are incredible. I mean, incredible. Circle With Me, their newest song, I think is actually their best song. I actually think that's their best track. Within Destruction, Yokai was one of my favorite metal albums of last year. Was Yokai last year? So yeah, love Within Destruction. Listen to tons, right? Whitechapel is a band that I've listened to a whole bunch over the years. Some of my other recent rotations, Zombie EP2 from The Devil Wears Prada is amazing, okay? I get that The Devil Wears Prada has had years of mediocre music ever since, I would say, Zombie EP1, really. Like, after that, they kind of fell off, right? I loved the song To the Key of Evergreen by them, but really they just had a lot of rough music after Zombie EP1. But Zombie EP2 is sick. If you have not listened to that yet, Josh, check out Zombie EP2 from Devil Wears Prada. That just dropped. It's really heavy. Yeah, I mean, I listen to a ton of that stuff. Signs of the Swarm is another one I'll listen to. I mean, I could literally sit here and talk about metal music for like ever, right? I mean, that's what this is for. That's what this is for, to play metal music, okay? All right. But yes, thank you for the super chat. Love metal. Awesome. Brap, what is up, Brap? Basement Radio Arcade Podcast. Thanks so much for having me on, Brap, and it's good to see you in the chat. Benji, do you know how many units MLB The Show sold on Xbox? Seems the narrative that Game Pass hurt sales may not be the case with MLB The Show being number 2 for Xbox April NPD. Thoughts? Yes, clearly, Brap. MLB The Show did excellent on Xbox. Now, do I have those unit figures? No. I don't have the NPD data for this month. So sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Here's the thing. I've mentioned this before. I'm just on my own doing this sort of thing, right? I don't have access to NPD firsthand, as in like I'm a subscriber, right? That thing costs a fortune. There ain't no way I could afford that. Now, just like anybody that's going to be kind of high or interested in the sales community, do I sometimes get that data leaked to me? Of course, right? Sometimes I know the exact units of everything, or at least a big chunk. But this month, I have no NPD data yet. I might get some, but at least as of now, I don't. So I can't tell you the exact amount of units the show did, but here's what we can say. It was a huge success on Xbox. It was number 2 for Xbox on April NPD, and that included 0 digital, okay? A lot of people miss that. That was physical only, and that's because MLB was the publisher on Xbox, whereas Sony was the publisher on PlayStation. So PlayStation included digital sales, Xbox did not. So to be the number 2 best-selling game of the month, no digital included at all in that figure. Clearly, the show did very, very well on Xbox. Yeah, MLB made a lot of money doing that. So Game Pass did not appear to cannibalize sales really at all. I think you saw Matt Piscatella even put a tweet out about this saying there's very little evidence that Game Pass cannibalizes sales, and in fact, there's an argument that it boosts sales due to visibility. I would agree with that. Is there a couple rare cases where I've seen signs that I thought a game was cannibalized? Yes, one of those being Gears 5. That was one weird case where to me it looked like that game did get cannibalized by Game Pass. But I think if you look at it at large, overall, I think that Game Pass, at least as of now, we haven't seen a ton of signs that it hurt sales. Look at Outriders as well, right? Outriders ranked very high in March NPD because it was actually part of March's tracking for a very short window. And it also ranked very high in April, its actual full launch month. And that was also on Game Pass. So clearly, Brap, Game Pass ain't killing sales. It's just not happening. And thank you so much for the $10 super chat, and keep being awesome and keep rocking that podcast. I had so much fun over there, Brap. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for a great turnout today, y'all, despite the disasters on technical end. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support so much. Truly, it means a lot to me that you guys are sticking through this despite my problems. Benji with a 2 super chat. Thoughts on the Steam handheld rumor? Yeah, this is interesting. Can it work? Benji, yes, I think so. I actually think that this has more potential than... remember back when Valve was pushing hard for Steam machines, right? They were trying to push hard on basically having a console-like experience from a pre-built PC that you would hook up to your TV, right? Valve was really pushing hard on that. At the time, I used to work for GameStop back when Steam machines launched. And I can tell you, I'm not going to go too into details here, though I'm not under NDA anymore, so who freaking cares, okay? I was part of meetings with Valve whenever I was at GameStop, okay? And whenever I say meetings, I don't necessarily mean I was so high up in GameStop, I was making these decisions. No, but I was in their management chain, and we would have meetings with these companies, usually on like a yearly basis at the managers conference, where you would sit down, do training, talk with tons of different publishers and developers, and get their feedback on like how to sell their stuff. And Valve was big on Steam machines. They wanted that to be like a breakout. As we all know, that never really happened, because I think for a lot of people, if you're hardcore interested in PC, I mean, you probably have a PC, right? And you're going to more often than not want to just play from that. The interesting thing about a handheld is it is like a different thing, right? It's just a different thing than your regular at-home PC. It's a way to access your PC games on the go. I think that has a lot more appeal to the people that are already in your PC gaming ecosystem, right? They're already there. They already have the PC. So wait, you telling me now I can take that Steam library and play it on the go? And I know there has been projects like this in the past, but it sounds like this one's like fully backed by Valve. I'll tell you what, I'll buy one. Like seriously, if this thing is like really good, high quality, you can access all of that Steam library, or at least a big chunk of it. Yeah, I think it could definitely be successful. I think so. Or at the very least, I would say I think it has higher potential than the Steam Machine home PC strategy did. Leo Jun 1966 saying, "Send us in California your rain." Hey, I wish I could. I don't know if you can hear this rain, but it's just downpouring here. It's just pouring rain. JCat with 5 super chat here. In their investor slide, Sony said they want to increase the PS5 market share to 50% plus. Yes, over 45% that the PS4 had. What do they mean by this? Is it hardware / software / DLC / MTX sales? First of all, it's so great to see you, JCat. Thank you for always being so supportive, y'all. JCat's been here from like the very beginning of my channel. So kind, always helping moderate now. JCat, you're awesome. So it's so great to see you here. What do I think about what they meant by that 50% plus? It's hard to know for sure, right? Was that strictly just hardware or not? Here's what they said, that they basically want PS5 to be their biggest platform ever, right? And they said they're confident in that. And in fact, like the follow-up slides were literally titled like why we believe in PlayStation 5. It was basically Sony trying to tell their investors, listen, this is why we think we can make PS5 our most successful platform ever, okay? I'm guessing they did mean hardware on that, but I would have to check out all the math. I'm not sure. I'd have to check out all the math on that. I haven't done it, but I think, JCat, they were referencing hardware. Now, they gotta be, right? I don't know. JCat, I apologize. I'd have to crunch the math numbers, but I think they're referring to hardware there. I think. Because once you factor in like software, DLC, MTX, they weren't even at 45% with PlayStation 4, unless they were being like very specific about what they were talking about. Because if you're talking about the gaming industry as a whole, right, they wouldn't have been 45%, right? So that to me is hard to believe. So I think they were talking about hardware. But the spinoff of that is basically Sony saying they believe PlayStation 5 can be their most successful platform. I would agree with that. Do I think it can be their number one selling platform ever in hardware unit sales? No. I could be wrong. Okay, I could be wrong. We're so early, but passing PS2 is a tough ask. PS4 is not even going to do it, and look at how successful PS4 is. So PS5 in hardware sales would have to grow over PS4, and it would have to grow over PS4 by quite a bit So it could happen, but at the very least, I think it can be more successful than PS4 when you factor in everything, right? Revenue, profit margins, things like that. Plastic Hearts Podcast asked me, do you think you'd ever take a job at a media outlet or will you continue independent? Plastic Hearts, I'm just going to answer this because I saw it pop up, and it's a question I get quite a bit. It is tough for me, Plastic Hearts. I'm in a weird spot, okay? I'm going to be transparent with y'all because you guys are my audience, right? I have had job offers, like flat out job offers and interest from multiple places now. Not media, actually. Not on the media side of things. I have had job offers and companies reach out to me, actual developers and publishers, okay? And as of now, I have not taken any of these. And this might sound shocking to you, right? But it's been a bit of a weird thing. So some of the stuff I've been offered, frankly, I feel like I'm unqualified for. There's been some pretty crazy ones, okay? I'm not going to be so transparent that I'm going to flat out tell you some of the things that have been reached out to me, but some of them have been like so far above what I feel like I'm even capable of that it's like scared me to get a proposition like that. There's been other things where it just didn't quite feel like the right fit. No media has reached out to me ever about a job. Not a single one. In fact, if you notice, very few of the media have had me on podcasts or anything like this, right? I'm kind of a bit of an outsider in that regard. I'm not super chatty with a ton of the media. There's some of them I would consider like have been really supportive and kind to me. But a lot of mainstream gaming media I don't really have close relationships with. I have no idea if I'm going to stay independent or if I'm going to eventually go work for a video game company or if I'm going to eventually work with media. As of now, my main focus is just my audience. My Twitter has been successful, I would say. My YouTube, much smaller, but I love doing these live chats. So I don't know. I don't know how that's going to end up shaking out, Plastic Hearts. It could go anywhere, but for now I'm independent, right? For now, I love being able to talk about whatever I want, cover whatever I want, say whatever I want about any company. If you go work for a company, you got to be a lot more careful in terms of how you analyze things. So I don't know. I truly don't know, Plastic Hearts, how it's going to shake out. I don't know. Kieran Buckley with a 5 super chat. Hi, Benji. What game announcements are you wanting to see next month at E3, Summer Game Fest, State of Play? Also, do you like Bring Me the Horizon? What is up, Kieran? Thank you for the 5 super chat. First of all, in terms of Bring Me the Horizon, I have a love / I wouldn't say hate, but like a weird relationship with Bring Me the Horizon. I actually really liked their newest EP. I can't remember what it's called. The track with Baby Metal on there is my favorite, Kingslayer. That is my favorite track off the new Bring Me the Horizon EP. I really was into Bring Me the Horizon way back in the day when they were more of a metal band and a little bit less poppy. I didn't hate their pop stuff or radio rock stuff. There are some tracks off of those I like as well. I thought Sempiternal was actually a very good album, but the one after that I did not like. I can't remember the name of it. The album after Sempiternal, though, wasn't big on, but their newest EP I liked. So Bring Me the Horizon, I would say overall I like a lot of their stuff, but not all of it. And then in terms of announcements I'm most wanting to see, Starfield. I want to see Starfield. I feel like Starfield has potential to be the biggest game out of E3 if it looks good. I kind of tweeted about that. The hype before we've ever even seen this game is astronomical. Bethesda Game Studios is the studio behind Elder Scrolls, behind Fallout. We're talking literally some of the biggest selling RPGs in the history of video games. So the hype for that is going to be unreal if it looks good. I mean, if Starfield looks good, it's going to dominate the news cycle coming out of E3. We just don't know for sure what that's going to look like yet, though. I'm a massive Forza Horizon fan, so Forza Horizon 5 is going to rank right up there. Battlefield 6, I cannot wait to see Battlefield 6, which honestly feels weird to say because Battlefield 5 I completely skipped, and I wasn't a big fan of Battlefield 1. I know a lot of people loved that game, but I played it and Battlefield 1 was kind of to me. But I don't know, 6 going back to more of a modern setting, it being a next-gen early game, for multiplayer, I'm real hyped for Battlefield 6. So Starfield, Forza Horizon 5, Battlefield 6. I'm, of course, excited to see Halo Infinite. Let me think. What's some other games that are probably going to be there? It's hard for me to say unannounced stuff because who knows what all's going to get announced. I'm interested to see what Ubisoft's going to show, right? Because you would have thought that Far Cry was going to be the main aspect of that, but it's apparently not because they're going to show Far Cry 6 on Friday. So that surprised me. I was like, wait, if Far Cry 6 is here, like on its own thing, what exactly is going on with their actual Ubisoft forward? Like, what's their big new games they're going to talk about there? So Ubisoft's a real wild card to me. I'm excited to see what they're going to show. And then it's hard to know for the actual Jeff Keighley Summer Game Fest what all he's going to show. I'm excited for that. I think we might get some surprises at that one, like in terms of just out of left field announcements that we didn't expect. So those would be some off the top of my head. But I would say the three that I'm most excited for that are announced at least are Battlefield 6, Starfield, and I know it's not technically announced before it's Horizon 5. We all know it's going to be there. Jez C saying, how's it going? Jez, if this is Jez Corden, I think that's how you say your last name. I apologize if I'm saying it wrong. I always butcher names. If this is Jez from Windows Central, what is up, Jez? Great to see you. If it's not, and you just have the same name, it is still great to see you. But if this is Jez, what is up, Jez? It's so good to see you, man. Keep being awesome. Keep up the great work you do on all of your reporting and just being an awesome dude. And thank you for the super chat, Jez. That's like super kind of you, man. You didn't have to do that. Thank you so much. Judge Doom with the 2 super chat. Can BioWare make a comeback? I think so. Dragon Age 4 and Mass Effect 4 must be good. Well, Judge Doom, you just hit the nail on the head, right? I think that they can make a comeback, but those 2 games absolutely have to be home runs. I feel like this is literally do or die for BioWare. Like, seriously. They have had a bit of a rough go. Legendary Edition was a nice bounce back, right? This seems to have sold well. It reviewed really well. But this was not BioWare making brand new content, right? This was them remastering previous games that were already beloved. So we need to see that they can keep this quality up on brand new games, right? Things that is brand new. They're creating their own story. They're creating brand new gameplay for. So they can do it. I think that there's enough talent there still. And also the tiny teases, and these are tiny, but the tiny teases we've had about the direction of Dragon Age and the direction of the next Mass Effect, I think do at least on a surface level appear good, like that they're headed in the right direction. But these games have to hit. If somehow Dragon Age 4 and Mass Effect 4 are just like commercial and critical failures, I don't know that BioWare will be around after that, to be perfectly honest. If you had that many misses in a row, it's hard for me to envision EA keeping them going, or at least keeping them going in the way that we are used to them going. So I think they can do it. The early signs is that they are on the right track, I think. But yes, Judge Doom, these games, they have to be a home run. They have to be. They literally have to be. So take your time. No matter what, if I'm EA, listen, I know you're the publisher. I know you want to get games out. I know you want to make a bunch of money from these games, but they need to let BioWare really take their time on these. Do not rush it out the door. Does that mean you can let, these games be in development for 10 years? No, right? At some point you do have to release a project and get money out the door. But I would not be in a position where I'd be pressuring the studio like, yo, BioWare, you need to get these games out. Go, 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 go. They need to focus on quality above all else. Above all else. Because this is a make or break moment for this studio. Thank you for the tons of questions today. Thank you for the good turnout today, everyone. I'm going to keep going for 15 or 20 minutes, and then we're going to go. I'm going to still hit some more questions, but we are in the last stretch of this chat. Really quick, I'm going to do my shout outs. I don't, spam this stuff out. But if you like doing these chats, even despite all of my technical issues, make sure you like the video. It helps the YouTube algorithm, helps people find my channel. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you're not yet. My goal was to get to 3,000 subscribers by E3. It does not look like that's going to happen. E3 is really close, and the subs aren't growing very fast, which is fine. But I think we're going to miss 3,000 by E3, but maybe if we can get 3,000 still in June, that would be awesome. So subscribe to my channel if you're not yet. And thank you so much, everybody. Okay. Back into some questions for about 15 more minutes. About 15 more minutes of questions. Elias, Sony has to be very confident to show Horizon Zero Dawn 2 this soon and not in their possibly state of play for June or July. Is this a sign that they will have a big show coming? Partially, Elias, and then I would also say, like I said earlier, I think it's a sign that Sony doesn't have a show anytime soon, to be honest with you. I just don't think it's going to happen until July at the soonest and maybe even August. But I think June's done. I don't think there's... I could be wrong, but I don't think there's a chance now that there's a summer showcase in June for Sony. Because that would be a weird move, right? That'd be weird. If they still had one in June and they did Horizon now. That'd be weird. Diagazo, happy Horizon Day. To celebrate the gameplay reveal of Forbidden West, tell us what is one aspect you'd like to see improved on in Forbidden West. Keep up the great work, Benji. Thank you so much, Diagazo. I loved Zero Dawn. Loved it. Got the platinum on that game. I loved the DLC on that game. I would say, Diagazo, the improvements I would like to see would be a little bit more interesting side quest content, right? Maybe flesh that out a little bit more, have a little bit of more interesting stuff. I loved the main story of Zero Dawn. Like, I loved it. And the side quests weren't like terrible or bad, but I didn't think that the side quest content was as strong as the main story, which is going to be the case for most games. But I would say I think that's one area they could improve on, would just make those side quests a little more interesting. I would love to see flying mounts. I don't know that that's going to happen because they originally planned on doing that on Horizon Zero Dawn and were unable to make it happen because of some of the limitations of PS4 hardware. And as we know, Forbidden West is cross-gen, but if they could make something like that happen, flying mounts would be awesome. And yeah, besides that, those would be my only big like improvements, because I already loved Zero Dawn. I was one of the people that thought that game was like almost a 10 out of 10. So I loved it. So there's not, for me, there's not a ton they need to like drastically improve over just like, any sequel. Polish up the combat, make the combat a little bit better, make everything a little bit better. But put it this way, I thought Zero Dawn was so good. It's not a game to me that I feel like, wow, you got to like completely rework so much stuff to make it better. I feel like they can just solidly improve on most things and they'll be fine. Miles Morales, hey Benji boy, do you think it's possible that PlayStation will release GT7, God of War 5, Spider-Man 2, all in 2022? Doesn't that mean they're competing with themselves? Miles, I think they definitely can. That's only 3 games. I know that sounds like a lot, but I mean, people love buying video games. Like, all you got to do is just look at the data, right? People love buying games. I think they could easily support 3 AAA games in a year. And in fact, I think they could support more than that. I think Sony could launch 5 or 6 games in a year and none of them would cannibalize each other, to be honest. The kind of proof in the pudding on this was whenever they launched The Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima literally 1 month apart, right? That was like the moment where it was like, okay, you have 2 giant AAA exclusives from your first party launching 1 month apart. This is going to tell us if there's enough of those diehard PlayStation first-party fans that they're going to support both of these games. And what do we see? Part 2 had the biggest launch ever for a PlayStation Studios game, and then Ghost of Tsushima was their fastest-selling new IP ever. So clearly there's enough demand there for these games. I think that's fine. 3 is plenty fine. They could do 4 or 5, I think, and still be fine. Yeah, I think that's okay, Miles. I think so. Like I said, people love games. Batman Forever, this year so far has been very quiet in terms of big AAA releases. Do you predict next year it will be jam-packed? Yes, with AAA games. How many first-party PS5 games do you predict will release next year? So this kind of piggybacks off what Miles said. I would say 3 at minimum. I'm expecting God of War next year. I'm expecting Gran Turismo 7 next year. Factions 2, right? I think that's next year. That's been in development for quite a while. You know, the Last of Us 2 multiplayer thing, whatever that ends up being. I think that's probably next year. Spider-Man 2 is a wild card for next year. It actually could happen. That'd be about a 4-year development cycle. So I would say Sony, a minimum of 3, possibly 4 first-party games. And then in just the overall market, I'm expecting a ton of games next year. You already had a bunch that got delayed out of this year to next year. And then, you know, those were announced delays. Then you're going to have unannounced delays that happened, right? That were delayed internally and you never knew about it because the game was never announced, that got pushed back to next year. So 2022, I think, is going to be literally from pillar to post, January to December, packed. I do think so. I don't think it's going to be slow at all for new releases next year. Just jam-packed. Let me make sure I've missed no super chats. I'm going to grab a few from the bottom down here. From people that came into chat maybe late. Dangerman1337. Benji-Sales, sorry I was late. Had to sort crap out. Dangerman, no problem. To be honest, you came in at the right time. The beginning of this stream was a disaster. So shout out to all of the people that have stayed with the stream because the beginning was rough, okay? So honestly, coming in late is fine. You can always go back and recap and it'll probably play smoother whenever you're not watching it live. And in terms of Returnal being 8th, I think that's a solid performance. Again, this game had 2 days of tracking. So, I mean, a very short window, right? So to hit top 10 with that short of tracking, I think is pretty solid. We need to see how it looks in May. Okay, May is going to tell us a lot because that's going to be its first time having a full month of tracking. That's kind of what I said earlier. So do I think top 10 and number 3 on PlayStation with only 2 days of tracking is a solid result for the kind of game Returnal is? I'd say yeah. Yep, I would say so. But my follow-up to that would be it also needs to do well in May because it's not going to be one of those scenarios where sometimes a game can have a fairly steep drop in its second month and still be considered to be doing well if it came out, let's say, like early in the tracking period of the previous month. However, this is going to be a case where it was only 2 days of tracking, whereas May is going to be like a full month. So let's see how it ranks in May. It needs to stay in that top 20, but it seems to be a solid result. Dreamwalker, Benji-Sales, do you think the Horizon Forbidden West 5-hour pre-show waiting stream is smart or a bad decision? Did they want to accumulate views? Dreamwalker, I like it. I think it's pretty cool, right? It's kind of like interactive right now. They're just kind of showing some gameplay snippets. Well, I shouldn't say gameplay, but like in-game snippets. I think it's fine. I think it's fine, right? Kind of getting people hyped up. The chat, I'm sure, is rocking in there. Tons of people hyping each other up, getting excited. So I think it's cool. I think it's cool. And yeah, it does help that it's going to increase the average watch time, and it's also going to increase total views. So yeah, I mean, pretty smart. Pretty smart. Dreamwalker, one thing I like about this is it's almost kind of like an artistic sort of thing. You're just seeing in game. If it was just people talking for hours, then it would suck, right? No one wants to sit there and watch 5 hours of people just talking about random stuff. But the way they're doing it, I think it's cool. I think it's cool. Samuel Walton, this was a follow-up to what I was talking about earlier, saying, if they're offering, take it, Benji. That means they see something in you that you don't yourself. Samuel, I probably should have. There's a couple opportunities that in retrospect, I bet I'm going to hate myself for not taking. I can't talk about them here. But life's weird, right? It's weird. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, hey, if all else fails and I turned down too many things and the industry hates me for it, at least I can still have my own audience and do my own thing, right? Here's my thing. Really quick, just a quick spin-off, and I'm going to get to more of your questions. But, do I want, this is just thinking out loud, but do I want to work for a company where I think my strongest suit, and you guys can tell me better because you're my audience, I think my strongest suit is interacting with people, talking with people, sharing info. That's what I feel like I'm good at. And if I was to take a job, let's say that's more of like a desk job with a company, would that be playing to my best strengths? I don't know that it would, right? I don't know that it would. I think the things I am best at is communicating sales to people, communicating what I think is interesting, things like that. I don't know that the best use of me is to have me sitting in an office crunching numbers all day, right? I just don't know. My passion and what I love doing is interacting with you guys. So, that's a bit of a weird one. It's a bit of a weird one. Josh is telling me check out the new Acacia Strain album. I will, Josh. I'll definitely check it out. Gustav Kohlberg, did you play Biomutant? Thoughts? I did not, Gustav. Here's what we can say. It looks like it was a big success, at least at launch, for THQ Nordic. In fact, I'm not going to be surprised if this is their biggest or one of their biggest launches ever as a publisher for THQ Nordic. And that was made by a team of only 20 devs. Now, on the flip side, it seems to be getting some pretty harsh critical reviews. And then also, even its user reviews aren't that great. Are there some people that are really enjoying this game? Yes, for sure, right? There's definitely some. I'm seeing even some people that I really like, saying that they're loving the game. But on the flip side, also some people I really like and respect, I've also, had say that they just straight up hated this game. So it does seem to be very polarizing, which could be negative for its long-term legs. But at least at launch, Gustav, it does seem to be a game that is selling well, especially for the budget. But I haven't played it myself. There's too many other games right now. I'm working on Mass Effect. There's just too much other stuff, but I'll play it at some point, or at least try it for sure once it goes down in price or goes on Game Pass or something. Deadly 8 says, thank you so much for responding, Benji. And Red Dead Series says the Deadly 8 got his redemption arc. You're welcome, Deadly 8. Sorry. I don't always get to everyone's questions, and I feel bad about it, but we get so many here on the chat. It's hard to hit everybody, right? Some people are saying that, they disagree with me on the Final Fantasy and PlayStation thing. Listen, I get it. Okay? Don't be mad at me over it. Come on. All right, we are winding down. I've got 5 minutes. 5 minutes and chat is done. 5 minutes. All right, let me scroll to the bottom. Any questions I missed on the bottom? We're going to the very bottom. We got 5 minutes and we're done. Camilo Harris says, definitely that's your best feature. In fact, that's why I come here most weeks. Thank you so much, Camilo. Yeah, I agree, right? So I would say, here's the thing I would definitely jump on. If there was a publication, a media outlet that really wanted someone to talk about sales and business and stuff like that, I would probably jump on that. I would say probably pretty quick. The stuff that I'm more I don't know about is actually working for a dev or a publisher. I'm not 100% opposed to it, right? I'm not opposed to it. I just don't know that I would be the best person for that position. And maybe I would be, but I like being interactive. I mean, I love talking to people. Bruno Alves, what are your thoughts on Pokemon Legends Arceus? I don't even know how to say that. Arceus? I should. I love Pokemon, but I don't even know how to say that Pokemon's name. I am sorry. Coming January 28th. Too soon. Bruno, I will say what they showed of that game originally, I thought looked very promising in terms of like really changing up the Pokemon formula and delivering something totally different. So I'm very excited for it on that regard. On the flip side, visually, I thought it looked really rough. However, Switch Pro is going to be out by then, so maybe this game's going to look like way better on Switch Pro. I don't think it's too early. I don't think so. I know there's a lot of controversy like around two Pokemon games launching that close because you have like the Diamond and Pearl remakes in November, and then you have the Arceus, or however you say it, in January. But I think it's okay. I think it's all right. Here's what I hope, Bruno. I hope that the game looks a lot better next time we see it, because visually it was pretty rough, right? It was pretty rough. Oh, Gaming Addict's in the chat. What is up, Gaming Addict? Dude, it's so good to see you, Gaming Addict. You said, thoughts on Sony saying no to Borderlands 3 crossplay. I don't love this, okay? This is one thing I won't defend Sony on at all. You guys ain't going to see me defend Sony on this. Listen, their attitude towards crossplay is very annoying, okay? There's a lot of things I praise Sony for. There's a lot of things I think Sony does an amazing job on. The crossplay thing, I mean, come on. Like, just let it go, dude. I feel like the industry is rapidly changing from, like, what they're trying to do there. I don't like it. I will straight up say, Gaming Addict, I don't like them blocking crossplay and only allowing it basically if you pay them. And that is, you won't see me defend Sony on that at all. Do I understand why they do it from, like, a business perspective? Yes, you know, I'd be lying if I said I don't know why Sony's doing this. The reason Sony's doing this is they want, if you want to play with your friends, you to go out and buy a PlayStation to play those games with them. However, the industry, I feel like, has evolved past that, okay? We're, like, in a scenario now where people want to play from, like, so many different places. They want to be able to play with their friends. If their friend has a PC, they have a PlayStation, and their other friend has an Xbox. Like, Sony, let it go, dude. Just let it go. And do I think it'd, like, kill their business? No. That's the other thing that makes it weird to me. It doesn't feel like a thing like if all of a sudden Sony just greenlights, listen, if you want to make a game crossplay, make it crossplay. All of a sudden you're going to see millions of less PlayStation sold. Does anyone believe that, really? Like, do any of you truly believe if Sony allows crossplay, suddenly they're going to sell 20 million less PS5s? I don't think really any of us buy that. So come on, dude. Just let it go, Sony. Let it go. Okay, I'm going to do one or two more questions and then I'm out. I'm having multiple people ask about Sega. Could Microsoft buy Sega? I don't think so. It's hard for me to envision Microsoft buying any of the Japanese publishers. Contrary to what some people say, it is not impossible to buy a Japanese publisher or developer, even if you're from outside Japan. Is a little more difficult, for sure. But is it an impossibility? No. However, it is tough for me to envision them flat out buying a publisher the size of Sega from Japan. That to me seems like a stretch, but they do seem to have a good relationship. So I would say instead of buying Sega, what I think you might see is a lot of deals made, right? A lot of Game Pass deals, a lot of marketing deals, things like that, without just full on buying the company. I think you'll see Microsoft and Sega have a good, close relationship, but not an outright purchase. Okay, here is the last question. Danger Man gets the last question, and then I gotta go because I gotta get ready and I gotta go to work. Danger Man, since I was late, what is your thoughts of Avowed being showed by Microsoft in E3? I don't think it is. I think it was Nate Drake said it is. I don't think it is. Potential spring 2022 surprise if Starfield is second half of 2022, or would Fable be same year as Avowed in 2023 or Fable in 2024? I don't think Avowed's being shown. I could be wrong with that about that. Again, I always make it clear on here, I don't consider myself some hardcore insider or anything like that, but I don't think Avowed's there. I don't think so. Grubb also said he doesn't think Avowed's there, so I don't think Avowed's being shown. The only person I've seen say that Avowed's there is Nate Drake. So, which he could be right. I'm not saying that he's wrong. I'm just saying, like, unless I missed something, he's the only one saying Avowed is at E3. So I'm going to, at least for now, assume there is no Avowed at E3. But I could be wrong on that. If it is there, hype, I'd love to see that. I'm just not expecting it personally. Okay, everyone, I'm going to call the chat there. Thank you for everyone that stuck through the stream. Sorry for all the technical difficulties. The storm completely wiped my internet. Again, if you like doing these chats, make sure you hit like on the video. It helps the YouTube algorithm. It helps people find my channel. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already. I am trying to get up to 3,000 subs sometime here in the future. As always, everyone, stay safe. Play some games. I'll see you, soon on either Twitter or here on YouTube. I may, and this isn't a lock, but I may do another live chat on Friday. So be on the lookout for that. Put it this way. If the Switch Pro gets announced in the next couple days and Horizon looks nuts and we get a release date and things like that, there's gonna be. So we may do a rare second stream on the week. Okay, everyone. It's great to see you. Thank you for a great turnout, and I am out of here. Peace, peace, peace. See ya.